Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here on Share Talk for Monday, the 21st of December, the shortest day. And starting on with Brandshield Systems, where there was an update from the company regarding a new contract with a big fish. Here we've got the hourly chart, floor of the chart here running through 24 pence. And while we're above that zone, looking for the top of the trend channel from the beginning of the month, heading towards hopefully as high as 32 pence. If you're looking for a momentum signal, then probably an end of day close through 26 pence would do the trick. Next up, one of the heroes of the moment, obviously with the mutation that we've had in COVID over the last couple of days. Here we see Novacyt toying with the 50-day moving average. That's there at £8.68, and an end of day close above that, and that resistance line there from the beginning of November should be enough to deliver a new leg to the upside. Still looking for the top of the trend channel from October as high as £14, which obviously seems to be rather optimistic at the moment. If you are cautious on this situation, you'd wait for an end of day close through £9.35, which was the initial December resistance, and also the area of the mid-November resistance too. So 9.35 looks like a key level. At this stage, only back below the floor of the channel at around 8.45, really delaying the upside scenario for Novacyt. Onto a stock which has done rather well this year, had a great year, Panthera Resources, one that I still not able to say for some reason, but we've got a rising trend channel here from basically the middle of October, floor of the channel running around the 18 pence level. While we're above that, looking to the top of the rising trend channel from October, heading towards 35 pence, hopefully as soon as the end of next month. The more time we can spend above 20 pence and that October peak, the more sure we can be that there will be a move towards 35 pence over the next 4 or 5 weeks only. Stock which has taken part and really enjoyed the green revolution that we've had over the last month or so is Powerhouse Energy. A pie in the face again for the bears rather, and shares pushing through up towards the best levels of last year, 4.6 pence the peak in July, and so far today 4.8 pence, but an end of day close through 4.6 pence early this week should be enough to take the shares up towards the top of the rising trend channel from April as high as 6 pence. If you're a fan of the shares and looking for a bit more on a longer view, maybe a 3-month view or a 6-month view, then 12 pence plus would be the destination at that March resistance line projection, which is currently heading towards 13 pence, but that's probably for the end of Q1 2021. Onto a stock which always gets the punters going, Premier African Minerals, and highlight here really the break of that really long wedge from June, which was around the 0.04 pence level, let's say, broken the 50-day line, the blue line there, at about 4.5, and nice V-shaped bull flag resting on the 50-day line, which should hopefully be a recovery signal. Obviously, you could wait for neckline resistance at 0.06 to be broken, but for aggressive traders trading against that 50-day line and hoping for a move towards the top of the broadening triangle from July would probably be the strategy, especially given that's a pretty good risk-reward situation. On to a stock which I think I covered at the end of last week, and on a very dire day for the stock market, seems to be doing well. Riverfort pushed up, I think, off the back of the dividend news that the companies have. I think it's paying out 7.5%. Also trading much less than its NAV, around 1.2 pence. The technical target here, the last time I looked at it, was 1.4 pence. So that's still the destination for the shares, hopefully by the end of next month. And the good news today really is that we've broken that line of resistance at 0.95 from last month, and an end of week close through that should accelerate the move towards 1.4 pence for Riverfort. Back to the hourly chart time frame for Tirupati, which has gone great guns since its IPO last week, or came to market last week. 45 pence was the level, and only touched that as support early last week. Since then, we've motored ahead, currently in what looks like a continuation pattern. Top of the channel here on the hourly chart is up to a notional 80 pence, and that's valid while we hold above the initial resistance for the shares, just shy of 57 pence, above 57, hopefully up to as high as 80 pence, and that would be on target for the end of next month. A lot of enthusiasm for the next stock, Rambler, where despite the 200-point fall in the FTSE, this is still edging ahead. Another one of those broadening triangle situations with a rather ambitious-looking target there at 0.6 pence, but the longer the shares remain above the initial December resistance at 0.3 pence, the greater the chance of a 0.6 pence target as soon as the end of next month. The sharply rising RSI as well, against a falling share price until a couple of sessions ago, is also a plus point for the bulls. On to Sareum, which is making good progress here after the break of the 50-day moving average, the gap higher through the 50-day line last week. That's at 1.62, and also breaking that line of resistance from October. Top of the channel here, initially 2.8 pence, probably a little bit higher than that actually, I would guess now, looking towards hopefully up to as high as 3.5 pence. But that the upside valid certainly while we're above the initial December resistance at 1.88 pence, above 1.88, best case scenario target by the end of next month for Sareum up to 3.5 pence. Good to see that Scancell's making good on its promise from last week. We gapped through the 50-day moving average, which is one of our favourite signals, largely because they tend to work. And the 50-day line currently at 13 pence, while we're above that, looking for a retest of the October peak at 20 pence. Overall, I suppose the big picture target here could be as high as the line I'm going to draw, which is a very ambitious looking 35 pence, but that it does seem possible given the setup that we've had and extended consolidation. But everything on the upside really requiring the shares to remain at or above the 50-day line at 13 pence, above 13. 2 to 3 month target as high as 35 pence for Scancell. Finishing off with a requested stock, although it's one that I covered last week. I was sort of rather cautious when the shares were around the 90 to 95 pence level. Obviously now it looks rather overly cautious, but we managed to break that line of resistance from November and the 20-day moving average around the mid-90s, and have obviously powered ahead very well ever since. Current view is that while we're above that £1.44 mid-November peak, we could see further gains, hopefully as high as the November peak at £1.97. So that's not a bad setup there, above 144 up to 197 as a best case scenario, hopefully by the end of next month. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.